Hello and hail Satan and hail yourselves. Yeah, today's been a good day. This one I'm about to take a drink from is very good. It's non-alcoholic too. It's called ginger beer. You got to go out and get some. It's got a badass taste to it. I mean, it's badass. Like, yeah, you just want to, on that, you might want to get used to, you might drink it fast because it tastes so good. But you can't. It's one of those ones you just want to savor. Yeah, just take a sip, put it away. Everything's good. You still have some for later. Oh yeah, but what I wanted to talk about is how you want to live your life. This thing right here, I mean, it's just absurd. Let's look at Genesis chapter 19. It's about Sodom and Gomorrah. It talks about there was this town full of homosexuals, and God wanted to destroy it with fire and brimstone. And in the end, his daughters ended up getting him drunk and having sex with him. And then Lot went up to Zoar and dwelled in the mountains, and his 2 daughters were with him, for he was afraid to dwell in Zoar. And he and his 2 daughters dwelt in a cave. Now the firstborn said to the younger, Our father is old, and there is no man on this earth to come in to us, as is the custom of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that he may preserve the lineage of our father. So they made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father, and he did not know when she lay down or when she arose. It happened on the next day that the firstborn said to the younger, Indeed, I lay with my father last night. Let us make him drink wine tonight also, and you go in and lie with him. And she did. Same with Noah's story. That's child molestation. If he was, you know, if he was okay with that being awake, it would definitely be a sin. But supposedly it's not, because they got him drunk and then decided to lay with him. But you see, one thing though is that God made that story in this Bible about kids having sex with their parents. Then there's another one in Judges. I don't know quite where it's at. I think it's in 14. I don't want to look because I don't want to waste too much time looking. I'd rather be talking. But it's in there. This man of the Lord came to this guy's house. The city came to him just like the Sodom and Gomorrah type story. They wanted to get to know him. And we all know that have read that story, what it means to get to know him. We don't have to go too far. We already know what that means. But anyways, he sent his daughter out there to be raped all night long instead of them getting to know that man of the Lord. They got to know her, and they raped her so bad that she died. Does this look like a book that should be followed to make your life, with the morals that I've just read to you about this book? Does that make it right? That's all child molestation. He sent his daughter out there, and I guarantee she was young like those other daughters, because it says her daughter. And then the guys get to rape her till she dies. That's not only child molestation, that's also rape. The Bible even calls it they abused her, which would be rape. That's your set of morals. Exodus 21 talking about all of a sudden the Hebrews get to own Hebrew slaves, and they can beat them as long as they don't die within a year, and all that other shit. How is that fair? He's, first of all, that slave is a Hebrew. Why is he being enslaved? And anybody who thinks owning slaves is okay is definitely immoral. Making somebody else work so they can take care of you, basically. And then if they don't obey, they get beaten. It, you see, that's how I know this country ain't founded on God. Because at our jobs, we don't get beaten for doing the wrong thing. We'll get talked to, and depending on what it is whether or not you'll have your job anymore. But if that comes down to it, it was the person acting like that. And but anyways, we don't get beaten. You see, what doesn't happen is the pastors don't preach on this whole book. It's just like Malachi chapter 4, talking about the end of the world where the capital S-U-N will come destroy the earth, to where the righteous will get to walk on the ashes of the wicked with the soles on their feet. Then it talks about Jesus coming. Did you know there's even a story in the Bible where, if I remember right, King David, I think it was Dan that he asked or something like that. But anyways, he was supposed to go number all of the troops, which is the people, the cattle, which is livestock, and any other type of livestock they had. And he went and numbered it, and it had a number. Well, later on in the Bible, it comes back to that story, and there's a different number. They can't even get it right. I mean, come on, you guys. I mean, not you guys, but well, you guys too, because you think you hear from God, but you think these people that think they heard from God, why don't you think they had it right? If God was real, that number would have never been changed. If God was real, homosexuality and child molesting and rape would not happen. Because you see, the fucked up thing about it, how I know that Jehovah is not real, is because there is homosexuality, there's murder, there's cussing, there's smoking cigarettes, there's getting tattoos, people are getting drunk, people are getting high, governments are getting corrupt. They talk about the Antichrist is supposed to come heal the government. Well, it looks like to me the government's getting more and more corrupt. Then where's this Antichrist? Isn't it about time for him to show up to where all the nations won't be corrupt and they'll all get along instead of having wars with each other? The place is not a safe place right now, and the Antichrist is supposed to make it a little safer. And it doesn't look like it's getting any safer. It looks like it's getting more and more and more dangerous because of these wars going down. I mean, there's wars all the time. That's when the Bible talks about, you'll hear rumors of war and all this when the end time's coming. Wars have been going on ever since man knew how to do war and got greedy and wanted land. I guarantee you is how it first began, and wanted the crops is how it first began. Hey, let's go kill these guys over here. The Bible talks a little bit about a story like that. The Israelites, God, when he brought them to the land of milk and honey, and this is in Exodus, and a little bit in Leviticus, when he brought them to the land of milk and honey, it was not time for the land of milk and honey. It was time to kill these other tribes because they did not believe in God, and God wanted that country for himself. And that seemed a little fucked up. You tell me it's okay to go ahead and take other people's property that they worked for, probably pretty much all their lives too, because I bet these other tribes had been in existence for a while. Let's go ahead and give the Bible its credit. Let's say these tribes have been in existence for a while. They have got investments in that place. They've got crops. They've got good towns. I bet the crime rate is a little more down, because what the funny thing is how these Israelites had a problem believing in God. The other gods, they didn't have a problem believing in. They said there's only one God, but when they heard about gods, they was like, oh, we need to go kill these people. They believe in different gods. Well, we need to go get them. Yeah. Those people, that's their land. They have a right to believe in those gods. It's kind of funny that the other gods don't ever talk about their jealous God in the Bible. They just know they got other tribes which are followers, and they follow those gods. You know, the world has come to its senses, at least in Iraq, I know of. You see, the Christians can't go just down there and be missionaries and their lives be safe. You want to know why? Because Iraq believes in Allah and Muhammad, and they are the ones, and Jesus, if anything, if I remember right, he's just a prophet to them. So they do believe in Jesus, but Christianity is not allowed over there. You want to know what's funny? Christianity is the only one, Jehovah Witnesses too, Mormons too, Christianity are the only ones that I know that like to fly over to people's countries from faraway distances like America to go and preach their God to these people. Did you know that other people like the uh, Hindu people, the Buddhist people, well, Buddhists I heard don't believe in a God, so I take that back. But anyways, Hindu, let's say Hindu for a minute. They don't look forward to going out on missions to recruit people. They believe, from what it looks like to me, you can go ahead and believe, but you don't have to. That is totally up to you. And they could care less. Just don't bring your God in there or else there's going to be a problem. Yeah. And plus, I bet their gods are a little more freer. I mean, this God right here, if you don't believe that Jesus, which is God, I don't know why he calls himself Jesus, because he's really God, according to John chapter 1, verse 1 and verse 14, talks about how God became flesh. It says the Word, and the Word was with God, and God was the Word, right? So, and then the Word became flesh. That's God. What is he telling those people he's Jesus for? Did you know that's deceivement? Yeah, if I was to go up and tell you, my name's Roger, but if I was to go up and tell you, hey, my name's Mike, wouldn't that kind of be deceiving? That would be a lie, and lie is deceivement. Uh, but this thing tells me also, this is another thing. Its morals suck. This thing tells me I can do anything I want that's bad to people because God will forgive me, like it says so in Romans chapter 10, verse 13. Any man who calls upon the name of the Lord will be saved. So, how many, let's say heavens, we'll all give you that for right now. Just for right now, because I'm not going to give you that forever, because I never will, but I'm just going to give it to you for this part. What type of people do you think are going to be up in heaven? They ask for forgiveness, they're forgiven, they accept the Lord Jesus Christ, their personal Lord and Savior, because that's calling upon the name of the Lord. It says so in verses 9 and 10 of Romans chapter 10 on how to call Jesus into your heart. So what type of people do you think is going to be up there? Think anybody that did any wrong to you, or something wrong to your family, something like that, or be next to somebody praising God that did some wrong to somebody else's family? In a very sick way, too, because they got those out there. But you know what? Those sick ones, they'll be in heaven too if they ask for forgiveness, according to this Bible. Yeah. And it also gives you the false hope of leaning on God. Yeah, if you lean on, I'm telling you here to tell you right now, if you go to try to lean on Jehovah, you're going to hit the ground. If you try to do anything physically like that. Because, first of all, you got to look at this. I'm going to go ahead and give Jehovah his existence for right now. You got to think. Let's just say we weren't the beginning, which we weren't. According to science, it took a while for us to come around. But let's just say God made us. Okay, who was before God then? Because if we weren't always here, neither was God. That doesn't make any sense. So then there has to be something behind him. And who's behind him? Where will we, you know what this kind of looks like to me? All these gods put together. No matter how we follow, as long as we're following a religion, that's where we're going to end up. Because it seems to be a mental thing. God comes from the psyche of man. He, how it all began, one person wrote this book or started writing on it and had to get other people to write it because he probably died before he finished this book. And then he got other people to believe it. And then those people believed it. It's all a mental thing. That's all it is. And when you worship God, you're basically worshiping the person that made that God. But the moral part about this book, I mean, God would constantly, he would show himself to the Israelites, let them know he's real, and then let them do enough sin to where they become captive, to where they are slaves, and the women are sex objects. Because it even said in the Bible, I think in the end of, I think Ezekiel, yeah, I think in the end of Ezekiel, where it talks about and then the women will be ravaged. Everybody knows what that means, man. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. But before that, God knew everything that was going to happen to the Israelites, and he let it happen anyway, even though those were his chosen people. That's what a lot of people don't know. I bet you there's more people in this world that go to church that do not know about that story about the Israelites and their little interactions with God, and what would happen to them if they decided not to believe anymore. You see, and where I'm coming at from there is this God will do immoral things. And he's made man. You can guarantee man will do these immoral things if they follow this book, because man is man. If one man decides to follow this book, there's probably another man that decides to follow this book. But it is all psychologically, immorally incorrect. Child molestation, rape. Jesus talking about, and I think it's in Matthew chapter 10, where he talks about how he did not come to bring peace, but a sword. That son shall go up against father, and daughter against mother, and in-laws getting into it, and basically everybody's going to be clashing with each other for the grace of God right there, because Jesus said, "Who is God?" Which God makes sense right there, because before he said he came to bring a sword instead of peace, in Isaiah 45 verse 7, it talks about how God creates evil. This is a moral book to follow. I mean, come on. Jehovah is all loving, but evil is hate. But love knows no hate. So how's all this evil going around? That's fucking weird. Yeah. How the hell can, just tell me that? How can something all loving create something that is goddamn evil? Doesn't make no sense. But anyways, let's just say it does. That's immoral. People have to have good things happen to them to feel either welcomed or somehow have a purpose in this life or whatever it may be. But evil is made by God to destroy that. And how is, I mean, that's morally correct. I mean, look what he did to Job. It describes that he makes evil because what he did to Job. Did you know Job never ever got his actual goddamn kids back? No. God gave him a new set of fucking kids. I would have wanted my old kids back. At least. Yeah, I wouldn't want anything else but that if I was in Job's situation. You know, what I read about through this Bible was the Israelites killed men, women, and children, so that puts many forth. Plus, it talks about children getting raped and dying all night. To where Job loses his kids. You know, there's a lot of murder and rape happening to kids in this book. You think that's okay to read this book, though, to kids in school that can understand what the sentences mean? You think it'd be okay to sit some sixth graders down and read the Bible? And not just read the Bible, read those parts right there that I talked about the child molestation, the rape, God creating evil, Job losing his kids and not getting them back. He may have got new kids, but those aren't his old kids. Um, yeah, just tell them one about Job, especially. Yeah, get those children, yeah, scared of the supposed devil. But see, the fucked up thing's gonna be, if they understand that story truly and believe that that story exists, then they're gonna also have to wonder in the back of their minds that even though they're doing good, is God gonna do something evil to them? If God's real, I bet you me and Bucksy will one day. But Jehovah won't. You say I get mad at Jehovah, but I don't. I may mock. I may do my satanic rituals. And they talk about Jehovah, and that's all it is. It's all symbolic to me. I don't get mad at something that is not there. Yeah. You want to know how one thing I know how the God and Jesus story ain't true? Okay, if God knows all love, okay, Jesus knows hate and love. But he's willing to forgive hate, so you may wind up in love. But there's one problem with that. If God can't look upon sin, how can he be Jesus, looking upon all the sin of the world and forgiving people? If God can't be around any sin, how did he even create evil like in Isaiah 45:7? See, it's the things that people don't say that's logical. And this book is not logical. He can't even get the ending of the world right. Who knows? They might have it right though. Let's just say they have two ways the world ends. So that's two into the odds. Who knows? One of them might get picked. And they'll say, "See, I told you I was right." No, I. You see, and the Earth's not getting closer to the sun either. I used to think that that was happening. What's happening is I think it'd be the ecosystem, but I know that Mother Nature and these machines that let off all this smog and stuff like that and pollution and let it go into the air is ruining Mother Nature. So ozone layers and stuff like that all getting messed up. Of course, it's going to get hotter. If I remember right, this last winter the polar caps were melting. Yep. And I bet the Jews are probably thinking, you see, God is gonna do it. He's gonna let the sun of bring its fire down here, and it's gonna wipe away the land except the righteous, and we'll get to walk on the ashes of the wicked with the soles of our feet. But it's not gonna happen. Watch that. Even if that was to happen, the wicked wouldn't be ashes anyways. We'd be melted down to nothing. That sun could take this earth and make it into nothing. It would just melt. Yeah, that's how hot the sun is. Yeah, I don't know if the sun has a surface or not. Probably doesn't. It's just a star. I don't think stars have surfaces. I think they have matter, but then again, I could be wrong about that. But I'd rather be wrong about that than wrong in my ways compared to what this Bible talks about. And the things I talked about in there are just a few of the things that's wrong. Uh, One of them where people write different versions of the Bible, how that's a sin is we turn over here to Revelation. Revelation 22 where's 18? 18. For testify to everyone who hears the words of this prophecy of this book. If anyone adds to these things, God will add to him the plagues that are written in the book. So if you add any words to the Bible that aren't supposed to be in there, like the original Bible, words are getting added every time. So you're going to get the plagues added on you if you are the one writing these Bibles with extra words in them. And if anyone takes away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part from the book of life, from the holy city, and from the things which are written in this book. It means you won't go to heaven if you take away words from this book. Oh, yeah. I think if the two I'd rather have is the pestilence. Yeah, I bet there'd be some type of pest around me, like, you know, the plague. Whatever the plague may be. Doesn't really say. It just says of this book, but what book? You mean Revelation? You mean it's but if it says it takes it away, then here's another thing doesn't make sense. How are you going to be in hell? Because hell is of the Bible. It's in there. So if you're going to be taken away from that, then how are you going to burn forever? Just barely thought about that one. Yeah, I didn't always used to know that. I just barely thought about that. But it's part of you know what you're reading when you read this. Because you see, when I was a Christian cowboy, I read the Bible, thought the Bible was real. Now I don't. And it had nothing to do with what happened to my life or anything like that. It just happened to do with him and prayers sent to him, and they weren't just any prayers. The prayer where I asked him to help me to stop being an alcoholic, and where I could treat my parents better. Yeah, that never happened. And that's a prayer. If it didn't get answered, then there's nothing else I got to ask this Jehovah. Yeah, it was and when I got away from Jehovah, it's kind of funny is that's when I stopped drinking. Yeah, stopped doing meth, stopped drinking, stopped getting in fights with people, stopped doing a bunch of dumb shit. The whole time I was Christian cowboy and I would be a rowdy person and everything like that, I always thought God would forgive me. So there was nothing wrong with it. See, that's another thing this Bible advocates. Even though it tells you not to sin, it still says it's okay if you do because there's forgiveness. Is that a good moral to live by? Just to go out and do whatever you want because you know you'll be forgiven? I don't think so. Yeah, if I had something like that, I don't think I don't think it'd be worth living anymore if I was going out just doing whatever I wanted. Yep, that's not a good moral. Yeah, but anyways, this video is coming to an end. Just thought I'd tell you a little bit more about the Bible and why not to follow it. And but in the end, if you end up following it, you can throw away everything I say. You can say I'm a crazy man. You can say I'm interpreting it wrong. It's funny how everybody's interpretation's different too, and it's everybody. Even the people who say they believe the same really don't, because they all don't add up together on how they believe in Jesus. Somebody's always gonna feel different about the subject. The scriptures are gonna mean something different to them. The only ones that get away with saying that their way is the right way are the bullies. Yeah, they're basically bullies. No, it's the way I believe in God, not you. The way I do it is right. You need to go ask for forgiveness because you have sinned. No, 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 no. You know what's kind of funny? That's how backwards the Christian religion is. It's because they stab each other in the back all the time. Yeah, the relationship supposedly with Jesus, who is Jehovah, is supposed to be a personal one. You and him. Not everybody else's interpretation and him. It's just you and him. So your interpretation, if you want to look at it, would be the right way because isn't the way you're following this Jesus Jehovah character the way you believe it should be followed by what you read? So if you are going to still believe in Jehovah and you are having doubts whether or not you should continue to believe in him, that's good. But if it's off of how other people tell you to believe in Jehovah, I wouldn't listen to it. I would just keep doing what I was doing. But anyways, now the video is 30 minutes and 8 seconds. I just thought I'd add a little something in. Well, hail Satan and hail yourselves, and remember, give a big middle finger to Jehovah. Hail Satan. Y'all have a nice day. Bye.